insane. Crumbling towers, streets in flames, forgotten heroes, who knows their names. Broken future, shattered dreams, end of times ain't what it seems.
Hello friends, this is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today is July 8th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. I thought we were going to have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy joining us. He's not on the line, so I don't know what happened. Maybe he will join us, maybe he won't. Tomorrow we're scheduled to have Ruckus from Alternate Current Radio on, and I'm scheduled to go on the Big Mad Crab show tomorrow as well. So it will be packed for me tomorrow. What do we got today? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That's Trump's reaction to reporters' questions at his cabinet meeting press conference today. And so, yeah, why would you even be talking about it? It's over. Case closed. Nothing happened. You're a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Trust the government. It's the golden age of America. Don't you know? We got the fallout from yesterday's announcement by the DOJ and FBI about the Epstein case, which is now essentially closed. They've said that's it, nothing to see here, move on. We got the fallout from that. Yeah, as I keep telling you, your government's a crime syndicate and everybody that works for them is a criminal, and that's the way it is. Sorry to tell you, sorry to report these facts of life to you. It's time to grow up, America. I know our audience knows this, but and trying to convince these people otherwise is when the emperor has no clothes. It's bare naked, man. Signing off on war crimes, covering up government crimes. No one in the government's got in trouble for all the waste, fraud, and abuse exposed. And it just goes on and on and on, man. They're actors, not even good actors. I guess Trump's a good actor. He's a good marketer. He can sell you his BS. They're all actors. It's all fake. The large majority of them are, rainbows in the closet, into some weird stuff, man. These people are freak shows that run our government, say they're authority over us. It's beyond the pale of ridiculousness. And so make no mistake, they are fulfilling the one world government agenda. They're throwing you sliders, curveballs, all these different pitches to try to make it more believable. It is the greatest show on earth. But make no mistake about it, all of this is to fulfill the one world government agenda. And from all my reporting analysis, it looks like a soft power transfer from the West to the East. All these governments at the top levels are working together through secret societies to go about our orderly depopulation. And for those that are left, total enslavement, there'll be none left. They already have told us, we've seen the humanoid robots, and they've announced they don't need us anymore. And so now it's just how are they going to get rid of us? They have the medical intervention. They got the wars going on. Everything's toxic, our entire environment. So pick the way. Some big giant war. I'm starting to have really serious doubts. Do they have the capability for full-on thermonuclear war? It's starting to look like they don't. They do have the capability to blow up a lot of stuff. But full-on, thermonuclear winter and all this, as we've been sold over the years, mutually assured destruction and all this, I don't know. It's looking like that's a fantasy, like a lot of this other stuff. Fight, like the thumbnail for this. It is more. It's getting more and more apparent just how fake this all is. Here's the, of course, the greatest man in the world, according to Trump, our shadow president, Bibi, was visiting. And of course, the White House posted this. This is a little zoomed out of the one they posted, but same photo, just a little bit different angle and zoomed out. But yeah, fight, fight, fight. And he's like, look, we lied to him here, snowed all these suckers, and you just keep on lying there, Bibi, and we'll keep these American idiots fooled for probably the end of time. You know what I mean? There's no lie that MAGA and the Republicans, the believers in government, won't believe, and it's just on to the next lie, on to the next. Well, did you hear today? They're ending Chinese and foreign ownership of American farmland. They literally rickroll us at the GOP. Remember that? I saw a big mad crab post that, and I do remember that about the first Epstein files. The GOP, I want to say Judiciary, it was either the House or Senate, and their link was a rickroll, literally mocking you in your face. And remember, whatever happened to the hush money? Congress has millions of dollar slush fund hush money fund going on there for all of their sexual harassment, sexual abuse against interns, staffers, whatever. They'll grab a kid off the street. Who knows? These people are just, are they even humans? They don't act like humans. They're definitely psychopaths possessed by an evil spirit. You know what I mean? And you could get into, are they lizards, drones, clones, just other actors wearing a mask? Who freaking knows? But whatever it is, they're definitely possessed by evil spirit to act this way toward the rest of us. It is very, what's the word? It's just like, demoralizing. A lot of this is our humiliation rituals, demoralization campaigns, stand down psyops, and that is that's the agenda of the day of this government. Okay, enough of my ranting about it. We got a lot of clips to go over today. What else do we got? Tragic events there in Texas and New Mexico. And I was poo-pooing the conspiracy that it was a geoengineering operation, but now more information's coming out that looks like at least cloud seeding was going on. But of course, the cloud seeders have denied it, and of course they're tied up with technocracy funded by Peter Thiel and the like. And so, of course, I mean, scientific dictatorship has its hand in everything, but of course nothing they ever do has gone wrong or ever hurt anybody. So we got that report. Tragically, more than 160 people still missing from that Guadalupe River flash flood in Texas. Over 100 people dead from it. We'll go over that a little bit. I wanted to poo-poo the conspiracy, but it's kind of hard to when the cloud seeding company admits it. You know what I mean? But they're like, nah, it wasn't the cloud seeding. So, hey, we'll take their word at it, right? They're only, manipulating the weather here. Yesterday, it was announced as we were on air that Bibi nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. More mockery in your face. That's what they're all in the secret society, literally mocking us, laughing at us, going about doing all of their evil rituals. And so this is another one. We have that. What else do we got? We got shocking developments out of the UK in public health news. We'll get to that. UK, and we'll get to that. But they're getting ready for the next medical intervention. What else do we got? Geopolitical news here. we're sending aardvarks a bunch more weapons. And so, of course, that's wonderful. The genocide continues in aardvark land. We got geopolitics about Russia, China, Iran, about BRICS. And then we got, where else do we got? And of course, aardvark genocide. They are, they're going to put them in a freedom, what do they call it? Humanitarian zone, humanitarian city there. After they've already pretty much demolished Rafah, and so on the top of its ruins, they're going to build a refugee camp and call it a humanitarian city, where they will continue the genocide. It's, what do you even say at this point, man? And our government's complicit in it, fully complicit. Go America. If you believe this is of God, this is God working through the government, you're sick, man. You need to reassess your worldview, to put it mildly, at this point, if you can't see what the hell's going on over there. Hey, and honestly, none of my business, but they've tied our hands to it now. And you better believe that all of that is a training ground, a laboratory for the crimes against humanity they want to do against you and your family. Better believe it. All right, it doesn't look like Thomas is going to join us today, so it's just me solo. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as more people are piling into the broadcast here on this Tuesday, July 8th. Let's get to this day in history. On this day of July 8th, going back to the year 1680, we saw the first confirmed tornado in America. It kills a servant in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Of course, that's that climate change. In 1776, on this day, the United States Declaration of Independence, Colonel John Nixon gives the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence to an assemblage of citizens in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on this day. In 1792, France declares war on Persia. In 1796, the U.S. State Department issues its first passport. Well, isn't that freedom for you? In 1800, a great day in history here for a great event. Dr. Benjamin Waterhouse gives the first cowpox miracle in the United States to his son to prevent smallpox. And we've been trying to get out from underneath this miracle ever since. So a significant day there in miracle history for you on this day in the year 1800. Significant event. In 1835, on this day, the Liberty Bell cracks again. Is that a sign or what? In 1870, the U.S. Congress authorized registration of trademarks. In 1896, great orator William Jennings Bryan gives his Cross of Gold speech at the Democratic Convention in Chicago, with monetary policy and symbolism underlining said speech, as America was at that time fighting for its monetary sovereignty, the right to issue currency and credit, not part of a private central bank cartel. And obviously, America lost that battle here now. In 1947, we saw the Roswell UFO incident occurred on this day. Was it a UFO? Was it a weather balloon? Was it government technology? Who knows? But allegedly, a flying saucer crashed there in Roswell, New Mexico, is the official story. But then, of course, the government explained it away with, oh, it was just a crash of a weather balloon. And so was it alien technology? Was it our own advanced technology? Nazi technology? Who friggin' knows? Will we ever get the truth about it? No. In 1963, the U.S. bans all monetary transactions with Cuba. I wonder why Cuba wants to join the BRICS. They're those evil damn commies, right? Well, they've been exiled from Western banking since 1963. I don't know. And they can't seem to keep the lights on over there. In 1969, U.S. troops begin first withdrawal from Vietnam. That was good news. In 2019, wait, did I skip one? No. And then conveniently enough here, coincidentally enough, there's no timeline or ritualistic dates that these occultists are following with their rituals. But coincidentally enough, in 2019, U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein was indicted on further charges of sex trafficking of minors on this day, 2019. What a strange coincidence it was, huh? So they're following an agenda, following a timetable, fulfilling all of their rituals, rites, and prophecies. And so that's what we're living through here as part of the one world government agenda, and make no mistake about it. And what else did we have? One issue I wanted to bring up here from this day in history, going back to 1939. Jehovah's Witnesses parade in Manchester, New Hampshire. 68 members of the Jehovah's Witnesses were arrested on this day for parading without a permit. That's your freedom in America. Their arrest eventually took them to the Supreme Court, and a landmark Supreme Court decision, time, place, and manner limitations on public protests. Well, that sounds like freedom to me. Their convictions were appealed to the Supreme Court, which ruled in Cox versus New Hampshire on March 31st, 1941, that governments could require parade permits and set reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, but could not restrict the content of the views expressed. The time, place, and manner framework continues to guide public policy regarding large demonstrations. All right, way to honor the First Amendment, Supreme Court there. We do appreciate that. Okay, with that, we'll play, let's play this as our segue. So again, I was trying to downplay the conspiracy theories because everybody wants to jump to their geoengineering, their chemtrailing, and yes, indeed, geoengineering, clandestine operations do exist, but it feels like it's being conflated here now with the pollution from commercial jet traffic, commercial air travel, and so we need to be aware not to conflate the two, which are both polluting our environment and causing extreme weather events and not good for you and me. But let's distinguish between the two and realize that it's not all of one, it's not all of the other. It's a combination of the two, but I do still believe that the large majority of the trails that we see are due to commercial airline traffic, and something needs to be done about that from the pollution from their exhaust of the jet fuel, the heavy metals there. But now, with that being said, let's go to cloud seeding operations were conducted 2 days before the Texas flooding disaster. And I thought I had started to build a little case because we saw the same flooding, not as severe, but a very bad flood in 1987 at that same Texas river, right? And so was that part of weather modification, operation, cloud seeding, and so on? Maybe it was. Maybe it was. But the same thing happened there in 1987. So I was like, well, maybe it looks like this is just a thing that happens there, naturally occurring. But turns out that there was cloud seeding operations, in fact, conducted 2 days before the Texas flooding disaster. Let's go to that video for the segue here now. This is a NBC report, surprisingly enough.
Times you might have seen posts or videos connecting cloud seeding to what is happening in Texas. And then earlier tonight, the CEO of a weather modification company confirmed that planes in Texas did release silver iode into the atmosphere 2 days before the floods. But he also explained why he says scientifically it does not mean that the two events are connected. Watch this.
We're talking about like sub-centimeter amounts of precipitation, be it in snow or rain from every event, which in aggregate can mean hundreds of acre feet, which is very consequential for farmers and ecosystems, but cannot come close to causing flooding unto itself.
And NBC News climate reporter Chase King joins us now. Chase, any conspiracy always starts with like a thread of truth here. Can you explain the science? Like, what is cloud seeding, first off, and how is it being used in Texas?
Yeah, so cloud seeding is really this idea for farmers of like, hey, there's some moisture up there in the clouds. Is there a way that we can get it out of the clouds down here to the surface to help farmers? Because water vapor that's in the air needs something to grab onto, which is often like smaller than the tip of a pen. So you're thinking like particles of pollen or dust or even air pollution. So you see this graphic here. Basically what they do is they fly planes up there to give the water vapor something to grab onto. So it's a combination of silver iodide and salt, actually. And so the water vapor forms around that. Eventually it gets heavy enough and then falls to the surface of rain. So when that happens, we're talking really small amounts of rain. In fact, scientists have been debating for decades whether or not this is actually very effective to do. So even when it does work, Gotti, we're not talking about a lot of rain, certainly not the amount of rain that they saw in Texas last week.
And the timing of it, 2 days before, I mean, you know, again, anybody online that seems to be an expert these days would say, well, no, this is what, you know, started the flood or possibly like supercharged the soil so it was hydrophobic. Like, well, take us through the timeline here.
Yeah, that's a really important point, Gotti, because this cloud seeding, it works within like 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour, and then that's it. So that was done 2 days before. So the CEO is saying this. Other scientific research establishes that cloud seeding isn't going to trigger something like this, certainly not 2 days after they were doing it. They were only up in the air cloud seeding for about 20 minutes because, again, it's targeted to a pretty small area of land, which was not even over where the worst of this flooding was, Gotti. So we're talking 30 minutes to an hour, certainly not 2 days in advance.
And I mean, cloud seeding is human-caused climate change on a very micro level. But when we're talking about climate change on the macro level, does it look like this flood has any links to climate change?
Climate change caused it, all right? It wasn't the weather modification cloud seeding program. And indeed, the health department has confirmed that silver iodide is health food for you there. Thank you very much. No, seriously, this does raise concerns, but they explained it away on NBC, so I believe them, just like I believe the FBI and the DOJ. Texas floods, at least there's conflicting numbers. It's rising here now. This is the failing New York Times. They say, well, let me put it on the screen. 161 missing. The AP said 160. A lot missing. Yeah, horrific tragedy there. The death toll in Texas rose to at least 111, with at least 173 unaccounted for statewide. As that tragedy continues, and it's picking up now in New Mexico, has seen flash flooding as well. New Mexico residents told seek higher ground amid flash flood warnings. So I don't know. I guess we have to consider all these things. such as geoengineering. There are still acts of God out there, Mother Nature. That still is a thing as well that we should not lose sight of. But they can definitely enhance it and cause it to be pretty bad. So, yeah, it's a horrible tragedy there. And then, of course, they want to play politics with it. If we would have had an early warning system, but they defunded NOAA, and so that caused it, it's like, no, but then you go back to the 1987 flood there. So we'll never know. We'll never know. We can just offer our conjecture here on the interwebs with the limited information we have available to us. FEMA is now backing away. The federal government picks and chooses their battles. And old Ice Barbie, Kristi Noem, head of DHS, FEMA, has said that we don't manage these disasters. Speaking of the Texas flash flooding disaster. So that's good to know. That they're picking and choosing their battles, i.e. Epstein files? Well, let's get to it. Today, Trump had his customary cabinet meeting / press conference where your Mockingbird media is allowed to create the theater that we're also entertained by. Here's Pam Bondi when asked about U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi on the entire minute missing in the released CCTV footage proving that Epstein didn't kill himself. Sir, what she had to say about it?
Back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
That's it on Epstein. They're real pros too over there. It's a little clown world with your clown influencers. What do they say here? Well, Ruckus, just take that $5,000 Doge check that we got and buy a boat over there for the flooding. No, but seriously, be careful over there. Don't get drowned in the flooding there, Ruckus. And Denver member mentions the weather related to the current situation. The Texas Weather Modification Act was enacted in 1976. Yeah, I saw something about that as well. More on the Epstein. Here's Bondi clarifies her comment. Will they even let me play this one? Is it even worth playing? How about that question? Here we go. It's while Bondi said she has no knowledge of Alex Acosta reportedly telling Trump's transition team, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone." That suggests she didn't investigate anything. That said, it's clear from this exchange, Trump didn't want her to do any digging. Oh, you're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt
Sure.
for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back
Desecration. We have more of that clip, but they're asking because it implies that all of you people in the government are covering up a blackmail, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, name your contraband trafficking, intelligence operation that hits many people of high power status in government, in private business, and so on. And that's why people are not distracted by the newest current thing. They still want to know about Epstein, but that Trump's mask seems to have come off here now. And so Trump's a piece of shit, and he just showed you right there in that clip. Let's play the rest of it.
up on that. In February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that.
Really? They're saying that he downloaded child porn? He was producing child porn and snuff films. But, he just downloaded it off the internet, I guess.
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset. And
oh, I saw the video of him committing suicide, didn't you guys? Yeah. Okay. I trust the government. It's just, here's all, I know this is one of your guys' favorite clown influencers, Ben Shapiro. Let's watch this. Watch this piece of shit. All these people are just...
We now have the answers. And the problem is this. People who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion that if you speculate without evidence, that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset today because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? But that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, He was not murdered. He did not keep a client list. And he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying this. If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying. Because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me. I know Cash Patel a little bit. I don't think Cash Patel is lying to me. I don't think these people are lying to me. Which means that if somebody else continues to claim that they're lying, they ought to provide their evidence at this point. And now is the point at which the facts on the ground have changed.
Little Ben with his little hat and his smart wit. The government in and of itself is a lie. Their little Ben, but he knows. He knows he's just a shill. How any of these clowns have any followers, they got to be spending more on promotion than they make on their bullshit shows. I swear to God, man. It's just... it's government propaganda. Pick your flavor, left, right, or center. Former CIA officer. Are you ever a former CIA officer? John Kirikou stated that the deep state probably destroyed the Epstein files. Again, there's no deep state. It's just the government. There's no uniparty. It's the government. Maybe someday we'll just call it what it is, the government. Instead of making excuses for these criminals.
I'm not blaming the FBI director, Cash Patel, or the deputy director, Dan Bongino. I think that that layer beneath them, that's part of what we like to call the deep state, has taken this bull by the horns, and they've probably destroyed information. Look at what the CIA did in 1975 after Congress ordered that it release all of its files related to an operation called MK Ultra. The director of the CIA went back to headquarters and ordered everything to be destroyed. And in the end, only about 20% of the documents survived. We're still learning about the FBI's operations against Martin Luther King 55 years after the fact. So now we're supposed to believe that everybody's telling the truth?
Yeah, because you just explained it away, Mr. CIA man. It's just so, who believes this shit? Okay, here's CNN is having a little fun poking back at MAGA, which I don't blame them for, honestly, at this point. CNN compilation of MAGA Cope over Epstein. Let's watch this one.
This is supposed to be about the most transparent administration ever.
What on earth is going on? Was Pam Bondi set up by deep state FBI career officials? Is she stupid? Is she so click thirsty that she got out over her skis trying to make news, being a Fox News star?
Pam Bondi, all of it. All those videos are saying, yeah, she's seen the videos. It's all coming out. And then now it doesn't exist. I mean, what? What?
The Jeffrey Epstein case, you do not know all the details of this thing, I promise. There are a lot of really obviously powerful people. This part you know, but the specific names we may not.
There were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable.
What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network, on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
This seems like unforgivable behavior. How could she give us those phase 1 binders that contained nothing while bragging about the cover sheet that she made, the most transparent administration in history, and tell us that the SDNY had the real goods? The binder was just proof of a deep state cover-up. That was the real story, she told us. Only to now say, sorry, there's nothing. If I'm President Trump, I wouldn't tolerate it. She's a liability to him. She's not worth it.
So stupid. Poor little Liz Wheeler there. Oh, she just acted rogue, and they're not. You just saw Trump's reaction. Let's go to Mr. Mockingbird Man here, Tucker Carlson. He's been working hard, putting out a lot of content. I'll give him that. Here's his comments on this whole Epstein debacle. I think we have a few clips from Tucker. Tucker doesn't want a revolution, but if you wanted one, this is how you would act. Yeah, as Ruckus says, they don't give a F anymore. No, they don't. Just blatant. And who props up this whole system are order followers. If you're order followers, the trigger pullers said, we're not following your orders, you criminals. It'd be over. But of course, whatever their motivation it may be, they'll still follow the order and pull that trigger now, won't they? And so that's what keeps us enslaved here. Because the emperor has no damn clothes, man. More from Tucker here with this other guy. What's that guy? That guy's from the Hill. Anyway. I think he does. Why the hell? He's in a secret society. He's went through all these rituals. Why the hell was he in Miss USA? What was it? Miss Universe, whatever the hell, beauty pageants. Come on, man. Roy Cohn, his freaking mentor, amongst other dirtbags there in New York. Give me a freaking break. How many? He's very conservative, you know. He's been married 3 times and cheated on his wife, and so yeah. What? But he sure snowed the conservatives. Gets off the hook. The freaking UK intelligence. They very rarely get mentioned. Just saying.
That in many of those capital.
Ruckus says that he thinks Trump's done. Time for Vance to come in. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. They could pull their Trump card at any time, so to speak, as what would be done that can't be spoken about. Read between the lines there, you know, fight, 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 but real this time. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of cards to play. The government, the crime syndicate. Musk says Steve Bannon in the Epstein files. Here's a funny one. And these jokers, Roger Stone, another Trump man. Why would Bannon meet with Epstein both at his New York and Paris home after Epstein was convicted of child sex crimes or sex crimes in Florida? Bannon is on the Epstein files, but aren't they all? I don't know about Roger Stone, but Musk, Bannon, probably Roger Stone too. You know what I mean? It's all quite sorted, but thankfully Trump's nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. So maybe this will turn around his public image. Let's see the greatest man in the world nominate him here yesterday.
The president has already realized great opportunities. He's forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak in one country, in one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much. Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, Bibi.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Touching real humanitarians, peacemakers at that table. Let me tell you. Here's some images from the Bibi visit yesterday. They didn't put them out till after the show yesterday. I was looking for it, and they didn't put them out till later. Oh, isn't that wonderful? And of course, oh, it's heart touching here. You see? It almost brings a tear to my eye seeing the two greatest men in the world together like that, bringing about world peace. Here's what the White House posted. This is literally mocking us, rubbing it in our face. Fight, fight, fight. And he's like, see, this is big time wrestling, man. A lot of money in it for you. And says, keep those arms coming. Got it. Fight, fight, fight. Thankfully, the United States and Aardvark land signed a big memorandum of understanding to boost cooperation on energy and artificial intelligence yesterday. And so isn't this wonderful? The United States and Aardvark land have signed a new memorandum of understanding to boost cooperation on energy and artificial intelligence, signed at Blair House in D.C. with Netanyahu, U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, Energy Secretary Chris Wright, and both countries' ambassadors. It also ties into regional projects like IMEC and the Abraham Accords, and creates a working group for secure digital infrastructure and AI integration in the energy sector. Well, they're a little bit behind here in California. We're already running Foundry Palantir operating systems on our major energy providers. So isn't the technocracy wonderful? Here's another step toward scientific dictatorship, technocracy.
Before we begin, I do want to say about this historic agreement, there's been such incredible collaboration between the United States and Israel demonstrated over the last month. The planning, the execution, the world's never seen anything like it, and truly eliminating one of the existential threats that was facing the entire world, not just Israel and the United States. So again, congratulations. This step takes us into the future around collaboration, because we know that defense would not be working without AI, but with all the incredible technological leadership, the great entrepreneurship, the incredible startup community that's strong and vibrant within Israel, that all of this bodes well for the future. And we're excited. The first kind of agreement that Chris and I have signed with any country is this one, and we think it's a great place to start.
Well, Mr. Secretary, ambassadors, the future belongs to those who innovate. America and Israel are the prime innovation nations on the planet. AI is the thrust of innovation now and will create unbelievable things in the future. And it's both challenging, because there could be bad things in it, but there could be unimaginable good things. And I think we can lead this, and this day will be remembered. Not every signing ceremony is as significant as this. This is very significant. So I want to thank you and President Trump for the incredible cooperation and friendship that has been unmatched and will yield great things for America and Israel. It'll make both of us greater again.
Honored to partner with you and the tremendous people of Israel, as you say, innovators, technology innovators, cutting edge business folks, and strong, proud country that's, done us proud and been a great American ally for a long time. And I think our partnership has never been tighter, never been stronger than it is today.
Thank you.
We're very thankful for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you go. Isn't that wonderful? a big step toward technocracy there. And you saw Chris Wright, the energy secretary there, bootlicker extraordinaire. I'm embarrassed for him, honestly. John says on the Rumble, well, I'll put it up there. What the hell? John says Trump is digging a hole for us. He does not give a flying F. His job is to empower the Zionist technocracy surveillance state. Trump cares not what us peasants think of him. I agree there with you, John. But the problem is that there's still a large section out there that are in the cold and blind and refuse to see what is actually happening here in reality. And they're off in some fantasy land that the government are the good guys. No one in the government is good, or they wouldn't be working for said government, i.e. the global crime syndicate. You see? And it's simply that simple. And I'm not even going to have the argument or discussion with anybody any longer. No one getting a government paycheck working for the government is good. No one. The lowest level guy is not good because they're working for the largest crime syndicate in the world, i.e. the U.S. federal government. Trump says he's weighing federal takeover of Washington, D.C. See, if it was a Democrat president talking like this, you would have the conservatives screaming. But Trump can get away with it, and that's how they fulfill their agenda of tyranny on us. It's plain as day. Trump and his administration are weighing whether to take control of the city of Washington, D.C. to help combat crime in a move that would represent a dramatic upheaval to the capital's half century of home rule. Well, maybe they should. Trump said we could run D.C. I mean, we're looking at D.C. Trump said during a cabinet meeting today, we're thinking about doing it. To be honest with you, we want a capital that's run flawlessly by scientific dictatorship technocracy. Very efficient. And so again, if a Democrat did this, the Republicans, the conservatives, would be having a fit. But Trump does it and they cheered on. So it shows you how fake they all are, right? Supreme Court allows Trump to proceed with large-scale government agency staff cuts, reorganizations. The checks and balances are all part of the political theater here now. Sorry, civics class, you lied to us. It's just all the government. There is no separation of powers, and it's all political theater aimed toward our enslavement and termination. The Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to proceed with large-scale reductions in staff at many federal agencies as opponents continue to seek to block those efforts in lower court proceedings. And so, yes, smaller government, but no, it's being replaced with AI, technocracy, highly efficient at terminating you. So be careful what you wish for. You may just get it. You may just get it. IRS says churches can endorse political candidates without losing tax-exempt status. The IRS, in a new federal court filing, says that churches can endorse political candidates to their congregations without risking the loss of their tax-exempt status. I think I looked this up one time. What is it? The Johnson Rule, I believe it's called, something like this. Johnson Amendment. Yeah. It's never been enforced. They just, and of course, your pussy pastors church leaders, whatever they are, piece of shit, Jesus grifters out there, the large majority, sad to say, of American churches now. It's never been enforced, and so they've never even challenged it, because God forbid you pay your taxes there at your cut church there. But the report goes on to say that the IRS, or I already read that part, the move upends a 70-year interpretation of the U.S. tax code, whose Johnson Amendment has barred certain nonprofit groups, including churches, from endorsing political candidates without putting their tax-exempt status in jeopardy. Well, if you're a nonprofit church out there, you better think twice about these clowns calling themselves politicians, who you endorse. You want your name tied to these criminals? Well, might as well. You're a bunch of child raper criminals as well at the church, in large majority, not all, of course, but all of government at this point, and almost all the churches is where we're at in this scale of evil and corruption we find ourselves buried under here in America. It's quite disturbing indeed. But Trump's going to take, you better believe Trump administration's going to take that as a big one, as a big win, as I remember him campaigning for this on his first administration, actually, the Johnson Amendment. And again, it's never been enforced, but your pussy ass church feared even challenging it. So there you go. And with that, we're at the hour mark. Let's go ahead and take our live commercial break. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers. We take donations. And I'm going to have to set up subscriptions. I don't know. You can do it through Rumble, through Locals, I guess, through Substack. And I think you can do it through PayPal. I thought people can figure it out, but I need to make it, simplify it, as they say. But in the meantime, we do take donations. Our Bitcoin wallet is at the bottom of the description of this video. And so here are our stickers. The holograph sticker. You'll get a new one. This is the demo model. It's kind of tore up. It's been around a while. The white background, you can see right there. And the clear background. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your work locker, your Cybertruck. Even though that current thing PSYOP is over, you still may get attacked. And you could say it was because you had a weaponized news sticker. And play the victim. So go to weaponizednews.com, support independent reporting and analysis. And we do appreciate all of our supporters, subscribers, and customers there. Let's go now to our one and only sponsor, Abu Dhabi Enterprises. We'll be back for the second half of the show after this short commercial break.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abu Dhabi Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abu Dhabi Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
Yeah, we're getting to the end game here. The comment said, John over there on the Rumble said, go ahead and sit in high school civics class. That's Carrie, to learn what the teachers teach now with 150 years corruption. That's pretty funny. And John says, I bet you did, Carrie. In 1977 was my awakening to the New World Order and the one world tyrannical government. It has been frustrating. Few would listen or care. Indeed. But now it's just naked. And so you have to be in full on denial at this point. to deny such things are happening. Another distraction here today. The Trump administration launches National Farm Security Action Plan to ban China's farmland purchases, halt disastrous research. But no mention in here about GMOs, glyphosate, other pesticides, forever chemicals, and on it goes with the toxic environment created by our own making here, by the petrochemical industry and big ag in America. No mention of that. But hey, what the hell? Let's demonize China. They're always a good boogeyman out there. And here is the map from the old New York Post of Chinese-owned farmland in America, allegedly. And so they're putting an end to this, they say. Too much American land is owned by nationals of adversarial countries, and more than 265,000 acres in the United States are owned by Chinese nationals, much of which is located near critical U.S. military bases. Lobbyist and hack of the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Collins, said today. Rawlins, what the hell's the difference? Brooke Rawlins. And again, yeah, no mention of all the poisoning of our environment here. But we do have the boogeyman China to point at. And so that should be good enough for you nationalists out there. I think we have a clip from it. But there was more. There was more to this new initiative, the National Farm Security Action Plan. Let me go over some key points here with you. It bans the purchase of U.S. farmland by not only Chinese, but also adversarial countries, including Russia, Iran, North Korea. May just be, everybody, except for Aardvark land here soon now. We do have a few, quote, allies left, but it's dwindling. It's dwindling as we enter a new era in a new world order, all by design. Uses this National Farm Security Action Plan uses presidential authority to claw back farmland already purchased by foreign adversaries. Well, nationalization of private property is pretty communist socialist, but what the hell? It's MAGA. Reforms the Foreign Agricultural Investment Disclosure Act to increase transparency and impose tougher penalties up to 25% of land's fair market value for late or false filings, identifies gaps in the supply chain and refocuses domestic investment into key manufacturing sectors, partners with non-adversarial countries when domestic production is unavailable, compiles lists of supply chain items sourced from adversarial nations, and proposes solutions to mitigate risks. This one gets me. Protect U.S. nutritional safety net, i.e. spray Roundup on everything, or glyphosate. That's what they're really doing, but what they say is reviews USDA food stamp program to prevent fraud by transnational criminal gangs such as those cloning point-of-sale devices or stealing cards, or i.e. the government itself. Aims to, I added that last part, to stop billions in losses due to foreign crime rings exploiting U.S. taxpayer-funded programs. SNAP is what they're referencing here. Strengthen agricultural research security, terminates USDA contracts and research agreements with 70 scientists from countries of concern adversarial to the United States, e.g. China, amongst others. Prioritizes USDA funding for U.S.-made technology research and innovation to prevent intellectual property theft and agro-terrorism. America First in USDA programs, cancels agreements with entities in adversarial countries, and ensures USDA programs from farm loans to food safety prioritize American interests. And still no mention of the toxic environment that industrial agriculture has created and the factory farming. No mention there, conveniently enough. Safeguard plant and animal health, enhances controls to prevent the importation of dangerous pathogens that could harm crops, livestock, or human health. Strengthens monitoring and response to animal and plant diseases to protect U.S. agriculture. Protects critical infrastructure, secures farms, food processing facilities, and supply chains from foreign threats and cyber attacks. Aligns with efforts like the Farm and Food Cyber Security Act of 2025 to conduct cross-sector simulations and bolster agricultural infrastructure, i.e. run simulations of how to better wage fifth-dimensional warfare against the American people. They would never do that? Of course not. There's no history of them doing that in other sectors of the economy. Brooke Rollins announces, well, let's hear from her about how she's getting rid of the glyphosate in the food supply. Oh, they're not doing that. Never mind.
We are taking this purpose and our American farmland back. American agriculture is not just about feeding our families, but about protecting our nation and standing up to foreign adversaries who are buying our farmland, stealing our research, and creating dangerous vulnerabilities in the very systems that sustain us. Reshoring and nearshoring our food and agriculture supply chain is essential for our nation's security. In coordination with the White House, the Departments of Treasury, Defense, Homeland Security, and Justice, as well as state governors, state agriculture commissioners, local, tribal, and territorial governments, today we announced the USDA's National Farm Security Action Plan. This plan includes 7 key action items, and there's a lot of people here that I want you to hear from, so I'm not going to go one by one, but just very quickly. It's on our website. The press has gotten a preview of it, and we can ask some questions once we finish the main program. But very quickly, and perhaps the most important, the first of the 7, is securing and protecting American farmland ownership. Actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries. Standing on the shoulders of great governors, 3 of whom are standing behind me, who have already been leading the way on this issue. And at the federal government level, working to do everything within our ability, including presidential authorities, to claw back what has already been purchased by China and other foreign adversaries. Additionally, working with the Treasury of the Secretary of the Treasury, along with our Defense Department, on memorandums to ensure that moving forward, there is
Indeed, they're, Carrie, partnering with the Department of War, weaponizing. If it wasn't already weaponized enough, I guess we're in the new era of technocracy. So we need to get an upgrade on our weaponization of our food supply there. And so indeed, they are backhandedly, again, mocking us and announcing the weaponization of the food supply for the technocratic era. This is shocking, a little public health news. Not really, but still is. I mean, the UK, our big brother now, right? The UK Parliament just unveiled its biggest ever pandemic drill, codename Pegasus, under a new resilience action plan to include building biosecurity centers and a resilience academy, all set to launch by the end of this year. Let's hear from Big Brother over there in UK.
The action plan brings together a range of policies. We have already set out our proposals to increase defence spending. We are earmarking £4.2 billion of funding for new flood defences, £370 million to secure the UK's telecom networks, opening a new resilience academy in North Yorkshire that will train 4,000 people every year from both private and public sectors. And later this year, we will have the largest ever national pandemic exercise that will test the UK's readiness for future pandemics. We are also developing a risk vulnerability map for public servants, applying one of the principal lessons of previous tragedies, which is that all too often it's the most vulnerable in our society who are hardest hit in the case of an emergency.
So that's exciting. Yeah, they target the most vulnerable, the low-hanging fruit. The failing New York Times, I did like this graphic. Inside the collapse of the FDA, how the new health secretary, Bobby Kennedy Jr., is dismantling the agency. And this little label they put on there. Of course, they don't label GMO foods, but they do have nutritional facts. Can we even believe this? I don't know, but I thought it was funny that it collapsed there. Yeah. I thought that was a funny graphic from the failing New York Times. And then what are these jokers called? Oh, the American Academy of Pediatrics. I would listen to them about your children's health. They've and 5 other prominent medical groups are suing Bobby Kennedy Jr. over changes made to the BAT miracle recommendations for children and pregnant women. And so I know, God forbid, they don't get their BAT miracle and cost them a little bit of kickbacks there from insurance. You know what I'm saying? And it's all for your public health. Of course, we trust the science and never question it. And the scientific method is a conspiracy theory. Okay. On to the braggadocious nature of little Marco and the Trump administration. He says, wow, I didn't know we did all this. And this is how your lying criminal history books will write it as well. He says, this little Marco, let me put it on the screen here, our Secretary of State. We prevented that and ended a war between India and Pakistan. Wow. Remember that? Yeah. NATO is now at 5% for the first time ever, a peace deal between the DRC and Rwanda, Democratic Republic of Congo, right? And a 12-day war that ended with an American operation. The entire Middle East and the infrastructure of it has the potential now to change because of Syria and Lebanon, and it hasn't even been 6 months. Well, hell, I think that Trump does deserve the Nobel Peace Prize for all of that. Mm-hmm. Trump today asked about pause of weapons shipment to Ukraine.
We're getting along with China very well.
Mr. President, more weapons to Ukraine, as you said last night. Last week, the Pentagon paused some shipments of weapons to Ukraine. Did you approve of that pause?
We want to put defensive weapons because Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people. So we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I think that's a question for the
Go ahead. Yeah.
So the great peacenik and Nobel Peace Prize nominee Trump is still sending weapons to Ukraine there, as confirmed by him. So that speaks Nobel Peace Prize to me. Trump's acting like he's not happy with Putin.
I don't know. We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. For you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Couldn't we say the same thing about Trump? I think so. And we haven't seen much of old King Charles of England, as he's battling cancer allegedly and other health problems for his evil ways. British and French militaries will cooperate even more closely to support Ukraine. Well, maybe King Charles should get a Nobel Peace Prize for this as well.
That you and the Prime Minister will hold in London this week will deepen our alliance and broaden our partnership still further. Our armed forces will cooperate even more closely across the world, including to support Ukraine, as we join together in leading a coalition of the willing in defense of liberty and freedom from oppression. In other words, in defense of our shared values.
Go monarchy. President Trump on the European Union. Sorry about that. I thought I had it up there. Here we go.
But now they're being very nice to us, and we'll see what happens. We're probably 2 days off from sending them a letter. We are talking to them. I just want you to know, a letter means a deal. You know, a lot of people say, we got 200 countries. We can't meet with 200 countries. We have a few trusted people that know what they're doing, that are doing a good job, but you can't do it. You have to do it in a more general way, but it's a very good way. It's a better way. It's a more powerful way. And we sent them a letter. You read the letter. I think it was well crafted. And mostly it's just a little number in there. You'll pay 25%, 35%. We have some at 60, 70. Those are ones with massive, where we have massive trade deficits because they've treated us very badly.
Al-Majid says on if media stop following all these so-called leaders, would they disappear? They are lying bastards. Well, the media is part of the whole system, right? So no one would even know or care about them. But again, the problem goes back to the order followers, the trigger pullers. If those people said, we're not following your immoral orders anymore, criminals, then this whole thing would stop. But that just can't happen for a myriad of different reasons. They're under mind control. They have different financial obligations. They're true believers, so on and so on and so on. If there was no media propping up the whole circus, then they would lose a lot of the power, I do believe. And old Denver caught that. I did catch that too, about the coalition of the willing. Yeah. Think you heard that before for Iraq. Yeah, we demand better propaganda, better psyops. We're living in rerun mode of recycled bullshit. The Emperor has no clothes. We've already seen this movie before, and it ends horribly. Trump is a bad joke at this point. You're just a hater, Denver. Trump calls Chuck Schumer a Palestinian, using it as a slur word. Chuck Schumer is a Zionist, and so again, muddying the waters here, and you better make no mistake about who Chuck Schumer is, and he's definitely no Palestinian.
This team, on behalf of Texans, thank you so much for the quick response and the loving, the hugs. I saw that you gave. Two quick questions.
I saw a Palestinian senator. His name is Schumer. He's a good Palestinian. No, he's a Palestinian. He's become a Palestinian. He's abandoned the Jews. But I saw him say, it's Trump's fault. Yeah, that's right. It's Trump's fault. He was actually, do you ever see John Lovitz, The Liar? Where he goes, yeah, I went to Harvard. That's right. This was Schumer. He goes, yeah, it's Trump's fault. That's right, it's Trump. I actually saw that stupid guy try and blame it on me, and I said, man, that's That's a tough one to take. But his career is limited because I hear AOC is going to beat him.
Really? As reported yesterday, we'll play the clip now. President Trump reiterates, that an additional 10% tariff will be put on BRICS countries. Does Trump even know who are the BRICS countries? I don't know.
On the tariff issue, so you talked about India coming, but then a couple days ago you issued a new tariff threat to members of the BRICS countries for if they align with anti-American policies.
10% charge.
That would be India, Brazil.
That's right. They have to pay 10% if they're in BRICS, because BRICS was set up to hurt us. BRICS was set up to degenerate our dollar and take our dollar as the standard, take it off as the standard. And that's okay if they want to play that game, but I can play that game too. So anybody that's in BRICS is getting a 10% charge.
Is that immediate, sir, or is that
pretty soon.
if they engage in some behavior?
Well, if they're a member of BRICS, they're going to have to pay 10% tariff just for that one thing, and they won't be a member long. I thought BRICS was, I said this about a year ago, and it largely broke up. But, there are a couple that hang around, but I thought it largely broke up. BRICS is not, in my opinion, not a serious threat. But what they're trying to do is destroy the dollar so that another country can take over and be the standard. And we're not going to lose the standard at any time. If you have a smart president, you will never lose the standard. If you have a stupid president like the last one, you would lose the standard. You wouldn't have the dollar as you. And if we lost the world standard dollar, that would be like losing a war, a major world war. We would not be the same country any longer. We're not going to let that happen. The dollar, you ever hear the expression, dollar is king? The dollar is king. We're going to keep.
It wasn't because you sanctioned them, locked them out of the Western banking system, you bombed them, you invaded them. That wasn't why. It was because they want to degenerate the dollar. Here's Brazil's president at BRICS. Lula shrugs off Trump's threats of BRICS tariffs. It is translated with English subtitles.
Nem acho que eu deveria comentar, porque eu não acho uma coisa muito responsável e séria presidente da República de país do tamanho dos Estados Unidos ficar ameaçando o mundo através da internet. Não é correto. Sabe? Ele precisa saber que o mundo mudou. Sabe? Não queremos imperador. Nós somos países soberanos. Se ele achar que ele pode taxar, os países têm o direito de taxar também. Existe a lei da reciprocidade. Eu acho muito equivocado e muito irresponsável presidente ficar ameaçando os outros em rede digital.
Trump again. How many times has he reiterated this fact that Trump thanks Iran for being courteous enough to let him know ahead of time before bombing U.S. bases in Qatar? Yep. Almost like they're all in it together.
And we were at the end, 14 missiles were shot, and every single missile was shot out of the air. It was pretty amazing. That was sort of the end. And they told us they were coming and where they were and what time they were coming. And they said, if you'd like to have a different time, we'll do that. And that's respect when they do that. I appreciated that they did that. There was no surprise. We got the soldiers out of the base in Qatar in this case, but they knew they were coming. 14 missiles were coming. And, you know, we were at the...
He brought about peace in a whole planned operation, i.e. conspiracy, with Iran. Iran trades oil to China for air defenses. Trump meeting Netanyahu again Tuesday evening. He's been treated very unfairly, has he? So I guess all those aardvarks and aardvark land that are prosecuting him for corruption, grift, and other crimes, I guess they're anti-Semitic. Bunch of bigots.
Gaza with the prime minister, and there's reports that you're meeting with Netanyahu again tonight. Is that accurate?
He's going to come on. We're talking about Gaza, mostly Gaza right now. It's he's been very unfairly treated. I think what they've done to him in Israel is very unfair, having to do with this trial. You know, he's a wartime prime minister, had an unbelievable outcome, and I think he's been treated very...
He started the war.
Very unfairly, but he's coming over later. We're going to be talking about, I would say, almost exclusively Gaza. We got to get that solved. Gaza is a tragedy. It's a tragedy, and he wants to get it solved, and I want to get it.
It's so friggin' stupid. We don't know what's happening. They've just leveled themselves. I guess suicide bombers from Hamas have carpet bombed the entire infrastructure of Gaza. Here's the man himself, our Lord and Savior, Bibi Netanyahu, of Polish descent, Prime Minister of Aardvark land.
The President and I believe in a doctrine called peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes the peace. Our resolute action, the resolute decision of President Trump to act with us against those who seek to destroy Israel and threaten the peace of the world has made a remarkable change in the Middle East. The remarkable American B-2 pilots showed remarkable perseverance, persistence, and power. The soldiers of Israel fought like lions, our pilots struck like lightning, and our common alliance roared like thunder. And this is having a great change in our region. There are opportunities for peace that we intend to realize. We're working together on this. We have still to finish the job in Gaza, release all our hostages, eliminate and destroy Hamas's military and governance capabilities, because Gaza must have a different future for our sake, for everyone's sake. And no country will settle for less. We certainly will not. These are all things that I discussed with President Trump. I may discuss further with him later in this visit. But I have to say that the coordination between our two countries, the coordination between an American president and an Israeli prime minister has been unmatched. It offers great promise for Israel, for America, for our region, and for the world.
Yeah, they broadcast treason like it's a gift from God there. So we appreciate that message from Bibi. U.S. to spend $1.5 billion building new air bases and facilities for the Aardvark military. Projects include facilities for KC-46 refueling aircraft and CH-53 helicopters. What's $1.5 billion? It's for the Aardvarks. Hell, they run our country essentially. And remember, all the time hiding in the shadows is your friendly British intelligence. They're like, they wouldn't keep the genocide going. Bibi went out of town to D.C. to have a good time, to have Trump wash his laundry, and, have some fun with the, in the whole, how they do. But, no, it turns out, actually, Aardvark attacks over the last 24 hours have killed an estimated 78 more Palestinians. So the genocide does continue there every day. I guess they didn't pass the century mark. That seems to be their quota over the last few weeks. It's been over 100 every day dead there as they weed out Hamas. And thankfully, the Western intelligence has now got a firm grip on Syria. Here is a billboard there spotted via the Cradle, reporting here now. In Syria, strong leaders make peace. Syrian people, thank you. Well, the Western intelligence thanks you as well for the cover for this Western intelligence asset, new president of Syria. And so that's very nice there. The Syrian people thank us, or President Trump. Isn't that wonderful? After they did a mini genocide, I don't know how many does it take to qualify as a genocide? Anyway, they killed a lot of Christians, a lot of Alawites, and they're still killing them there. Don't you worry about that. Netanyahu, I'm finding a country to dump Palestinians into. They would rather just, terminate them all. But it's kind of hard to get rid of that many bodies here now. I don't know. Where are they going to put them? In the ethnic cleansing program.
President Trump had a brilliant vision. It's called free choice. If people want to stay, they can stay. But if they want to leave, they should be able to leave. It shouldn't be a prison. It should be an open place and give people a free choice. We're working with the United States very closely about finding countries that will seek to realize what they always say, that they want to give the Palestinians a better future, and those who, and I think we're getting close to finding several countries.
It is amazing the level of lying, like the satanic inversion of reality. Literally everything they say is the exact opposite, and how they can keep a straight face through it. It is, they truly are possessed by evil spirit, man. I don't know how any other way to describe it, how you could keep up this charade of just literally everything is the exact opposite of the public performance that you put on here now. Netanyahu will be very fine in New York. Would New York City, under the sky, they're demonizing socialist communists. What the hell's his name? If elected, would he arrest Netanyahu on international arrest warrants in New York City? I have a sneaking suspicion that he'll give old Bibi a pass.
It's not going to happen again.
So we'll see you in New York next year?
Oh, well, look, I'm going to come there with the President Trump, and we'll see how do you know who the mayor will be? I don't know that. Do we know that?
He's going to be very fine, and who knows, we don't know who the mayor's going to be yet. But this is a communist. He's not a socialist. He's a communist. And he's said some really bad things about Jewish people. And he said some really bad things about a lot of people. And I think he's going through a little bit of a honeymoon right now. But he might make it. But, it all comes through the White House. He needs the money through the White House. He needs a lot. He's going to behave. He'll behave. He better behave. Otherwise, he's going to have big problems. But
so there you go. The federal government controls everything through the purse strings. As Trump just said, he'll behave. Well, he will behave, or he'll wind up in the Hudson River now, won't he? President Trump on the possibility of a two-state solution. Well, there will be no two-state because they don't have any land left to even have a two-state solution. So that idea is dead and buried a long time ago, honestly.
Do you think that there can be a two-state solution that creates an independent?
I don't know. I'd ask Bibi that question. You have the greatest man in the world to answer that age-old question, two-state. Go ahead. You give him your honest answer.
I think Palestinians should have all the powers to govern themselves, but none of the powers should threaten us. And that means that certain powers, like overall security, will always remain in our hands. Now, that is a fact. And no one in Israel will agree to anything else because we don't commit suicide. We want life, we cherish life for ourselves, for our neighbors. And I think we can work out a peace between us and the entire Middle East with President Trump's leadership. And by working together, I think we can establish a very, very broad peace that will include all our neighbors.
So in this Orwellian satanic inversion of reality that a Bibi world, then genocide equals peace. Literally everything they say is the exact opposite. It is quite a sight to behold. Meanwhile, aardvark settlers set fire near ancient Christian church in West Bank Christian village. 3 priests based in the village of Bibi issued a statement calling for help in the face of growing settler violence. Aardvark Land outlines plans to pack Gaza's population into closed border zone. But Bibi just told us they're not in prison. They can leave anytime they want. Oh, we're even giving free food. But watch out for the bullets. So this was reported yesterday by the announcement of Katz, the Aardvark defense minister, that indeed they are creating here now on the ruins of Rafah. And so what a horrific humanitarian city to build on the ruins of Rafah there. Of course, it was all blown up by Hamas suicide bombers, and we just don't know. It's tragic. Trump acts like he doesn't know what happened there. It wasn't never-ending carpet bombing and demolition crews leveling the whole place in an ethnic cleansing real estate redevelopment program, the Greater Aardvark Land Project, which Trump and his associates have a piece of. Wasn't any of that, you see. And so they're going to try to pack all of these poor souls into a new prison, smaller, more controlled, and for their summarily efficient termination. They don't say that, I say it, but I don't know how else you could see it at this point. And so they're going to round them, they're going to push them all into humanitarian city. Well, they call it a humanitarian city, so I mean, I don't know what anybody wants out of them. Yeah, we reported on that yesterday. What else do they say? Well, they have to complete the job in Gaza, which is get those people, finish the job in Gaza, which is get those people off the land. One way or another. One way or another. Genocide, ethnic cleansing. That's the program. They're bragging here now. Aardvarks are openly bragging about mass censoring a song for making fun of them. Watch this clip. CyberWell, the Aardvark Intel-linked censorship organization run by veterans of the IDF Unit 8200, takes credit for the removal of the viral AI track Boom Boom Tel Aviv from virtually all social media and streaming platforms.
Following the last 2 tumultuous weeks of war here in Israel with Iran, I wanted to take a moment to update you. During the last 2 weeks, our team went through a tremendous amount of stress, like all people here in Israel. Often our employees were at home with their loved ones and little children. Despite a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty, our team was able to focus on our mission, documenting in real time the surge of anti-Semitism that we saw online. Unfortunately, this flashpoint, just like October 7th, turned into a new level of dehumanization, not only against Jews, but Israelis as well, with people openly celebrating attacks. Cyberwell was able to provide key real-time compliance specifically against a known anti-Semite, Lucas Gage, who took to Twitter using an AI tool known as Suno to make a viral song, Boom Boom Tel Aviv, celebrating the death of Israelis. Cyberwell intervened with the social media platforms before this song went viral, and we know to date that it reached at least 6 million views online. However, we were able to successfully remove Lucas Gage and all copycats of the song from TikTok, from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even a new platform for Cyberwell, Spotify. We are continuing to work with our partners to ensure that content like this has an automatic response from social media platforms to block hate before it goes viral. Additionally, Cyberwell reached a new milestone, having our real-time data and insights about the celebration of the Jewish Museum attack cited directly as a main source in a bipartisan congressional letter of inquiry to social media platforms on the topic of incitement and radicalization online. The same data that we had provided to our partners, AJC, the American Jewish Committee, also served as the basis for a new Senate resolution, also bipartisan, looking at the issue of how the online space is playing a role in the radicalization and violence that we see against our community. As you take a moment to celebrate July 4th this weekend with your loved ones, the holiday of freedom, I want to leave you with this. By supporting Cyberwell, we are working together to create a world where Jews are as free as anyone else to express their identity online without fear of hatred. Thank you.
Cyberwell.org. Be nice to your aardvarks, and you see the crackdown here is coming. The crackdown here is coming as we've foreseen at Weaponized News a long time ago. Yeah, she looked Polish to me, but what do I know? They're Denver. You know what I'm saying? Block the hate indeed. Our crowd is not so big of fans of censorship on the interwebs there, but hey, you may hurt aardvark's feelings, and so be nice to your aardvarks and all of your government officials out there as they are looking to turn the screws. They're looking to turn the screws of tyranny on us and play the victim as they so familiarly do here now. It's the same old playbook. Maybe they just switch it up a little bit, but there is nothing new here now under the sun, as they say. It's the same old playbook, man. So with that, we'll sign off on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. That's all of the reporting I have for you today. Let's go to the channels quickly. Take a look at the old Odysee, see how that's going. We had Huffman, Gurr, John over there. Thank you guys. Quite a lively chat, actually. Let's see if I can pull out any comments quickly. Let's see. They're chatting it up amongst themselves. Let's see. The same nonsense goes on in many parts of America. Yeah, John. I think they're talking about UK or Europe. That is an interesting bit of history. The Trump administration is getting bold about lying. Well, bolder. They are. It's just in your face now. But hey, trust the plan. You just don't know. But they already got all the bad guys. This is just another. This is the fake movie again that you're watching here. It's all clone, drone, robot, guys wearing masks, actors. They are actors, but not in the riddle-laden spin there from apologists on the interwebs. Sad to say. They should ban Bill Gates from buying farmland. He's an enemy combatant as well, right? But yeah, no. They won't ban him. That's a good point there, John. Only ban enemy combatant countries. What did they call them? Hostile countries. What did they call them again? Let me go back there quickly about that report from the Ag Secretary lobbyist lady. What do they call them? They call them adversarial countries. Yeah, I would say Bill Gates is pretty damn adversarial to America here. To me and you, Joe Blow, but I guess he fits right in with technocracy. So everything's just fine there, John. A little bit too critical of our technocratic overlords. So I think we'll give Bill Gates a pass, our former doctor, until he cheated on his wife. Thank you guys for chatting it up and keeping it going on the Odysee. Appreciate it. The Rumble, lively chat as always. Trust the ban. Making America great again. What does Denver say? He wants to know about BlackRock. I saw a few BlackRock comments. BlackRock made an announcement about U.S. Treasuries today that they would be selling and buying EU Treasuries. Well, don't you worry, Denver. The Federal Reserve will pick up the slack there and broaden its quantitative easing program. So I'm sure we'll have nothing to worry about. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rockfin, F Rockfin, John. No, the Rumble, excuse me. Keeping that chat lively. Have a great night. I have some adversarial activities to engage in. Get at it. Get at it, Ruckus. You big adversary. What else do we got? We got the old Bitchute. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute, as always. The YouTube, Facebook, Kick, and Twitch. Thank you guys for, and X, of course, as always. As always, do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. And we'll be back here tomorrow, hopefully with Ruckus for more